Live from WRAL News Headquarters in Raleigh, your number one source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
Breaking news this noon, Donald Trump's hush money trial. The jury is now deliberating in the first criminal trial for a former president. Ahead, the lengthy set of instructions the group was given before deliberations began.
And 3 local bars are at the center of a new law enforcement bust that resulted in 6 arrests, where investigators say they found more than just alcohol being sold.
Also, hurricane season is just 3 days away, and those storms can be intense and often wipe out power. New at noon, the smart technology and how changes will help get lights back on sooner when the power goes out. With you this noon with breaking news. Less than 30 minutes ago, jury deliberations began in the historic hush money trial against former President Donald Trump. Good afternoon to you. I'm Jeff Hogan.
And I'm Renee Chu. Thanks for joining us. The judge read jurors the instructions and told them to work until 4:30 this afternoon. NBC's Jay Gray reports outside the courthouse in Manhattan.
Well, there's certainly an energy that's different outside the criminal courts building here in Lower Manhattan right now. Protesters on both sides of this controversial trial have gathered here, and the energy has picked up significantly. You see a lot of officers, as we have throughout this trial, surrounding the courthouse, and more staged just a few blocks away. After sitting quietly, taking notes for more than a month, it's now the jury's turn to speak. They get instructions from the judge in this case, Juan Marchand, sharing with them the laws that are pertinent to what they've heard over the last month plus and how to apply those laws while deliberating here. They will be reviewing testimony from 20 witnesses, more than 250 exhibits, and taking their time to work through 34 felony charges against the former president here, faced with making a decision that's never been made in the history of this country before. Will a former sitting president, Donald Trump, be a convicted felon? As he entered the courthouse this morning, he said nothing to reporters in the hallway that were gathered. That's a bit different than we've seen throughout this trial. And now he sits and waits, and forced to sit here at the courthouse as long as that jury is deliberating, waiting to see what his fate may be. That's the latest right now. We'll continue to monitor things here in Manhattan. Back to you.
Jay Gray, thank you. During deliberations, the jury will have free access to a laptop that contains all of the evidence, so they won't have to ask for a specific piece every time they want to look at something.
Several Raleigh bars are accused of selling more than alcohol to their customers. Today, the alcohol law enforcement agency said agents made 6 arrests at 3 downtown locations. WRAL's Destiny Patterson is live outside the Big Easy, one of the bars linked to this bust. And Destiny, there are employees facing charges there.
That's right, Jeff. There are 3 people in connection to the Big Easy that are facing charges in relation to all of this. That includes 2 employees who are accused of planning to sell drugs and allowing criminal activity at a licensed ABC premises. Those 2 employees are Kayla Boyd and Matthew Brown. A Big Easy customer is also accused of selling drugs. ALE agents also charged a customer at the Davy Bar and 2 customers at the Cardinal. All of them face charges for selling and possessing drugs there. Now, we've covered multiple drug busts like this in and around downtown Raleigh. Investigators say this is part of a larger initiative to crack down on controlled substances in downtown Raleigh. I talked to the owner of the Davy Bar. He says that they had no knowledge of this. They don't condone any of this. And just a few minutes ago, I just talked to the owner here at the Big Easy, and he tells me that they also didn't know that this was going on. They're complying with officers as much as they can, and they're making measures to make sure that this doesn't happen again. Jeff?
Destiny Patterson live downtown Raleigh. Thank you for that. Tonight, families can learn more about the dangers of teen vaping. The state health department is hosting a fireside chat in town hall. Youth advocates and health experts will discuss how parents can identify when their child is vaping, how to talk to them about quitting, and where to get more information. It'll be from 6 to 7 tonight and streamed on the state DHHS Facebook, X, and YouTube accounts.
The official start of hurricane season is just 3 days away. Today, we're getting an inside look at new tools Duke Energy is using to keep your power on and get it back online if a storm does hit. WRAL's Sean Gallagher joins us live from Duke Energy's new distribution grid control center. Sean, Duke is using smart technology to help reduce the length of outages, no matter how big or small.
Yeah, that's right, Renee. And the crew here knows how important time is in restoring power. Again, I'm inside this centralized location that you can pan around, brand new, and it is big. They have crews here that can quickly dispatch people anywhere in the state for those small outages all the way up to large natural disasters that take out power for thousands. But they also have the ability to restore that power with a click of a button, thanks to new self-healing technology. Essentially, the new tech cuts off the problem area to reroute power, limiting the impact of an outage. Could mean the difference between a power outage impacting some 2,000 people and cutting that down to just a couple hundred.
That means that we can reduce the impacts of an outage by as much as 75% and can often restore power in less than a minute. So, when you think about power restoration, power is security for our customers. And when they lose that power, it impacts their lives. It's not just an inconvenience. It disrupts work and productivity, family time. And so it's really important that we can get the power back up as safely and quickly as possible.
And having operations in a central location does open them up to the possibility of physical or cyber attacks. On our way in, you could say they have heavy fencing that prevents anything outside. And then Jeff Brooks, the man you just heard from, says that they have daily monitors checks to make sure there's no suspicious activity happening here on the internet as well. Sean Gallagher, WRAL News, Garner.
And happening right now in the WRAL Live Center, this just into the newsroom. Vietnamese electric car maker VinFast says that they are delaying the planned $4 billion factory in Chatham County. That has been delayed. They announced in 2022 that they would be building at this site at the battery factory in the U.S. with the annual production company capacity of 150,000 vehicles. That was their goal. The company had initially planned to complete the factory in July of 2024, but later pushed back the start of operations to 2025. In April, the company said it was downsizing the size of the plant as the construction hit a snag. We are gathering all of these details from Reuters. This is what we know so far. As soon as we learn anything else about this construction, we'll bring it to you from the Live Center.
Our community has wrapped its arms around a Garner family dealing with unimaginable grief. Tyler and Susie Campbell died in a Memorial Day crash, and a day later, the couple's 8-year-old son was declared brain dead. WRAL's Laura Levine explains how friends, neighbors, and even complete strangers are supporting this family.
We are here back at the scene of where the tragedy occurred. The family of Miles Campbell says that he was declared brain dead a little after 6 o'clock last night, and he will become an organ donor. They believe that is what his parents would have wanted. I want you to take a look at this video from Lions Field, where the Little League baseball team that Miles was a part of held a moment of silence and prayer and vigil for the family. Then there was a second vigil at Snap Kick Martial Arts. This is where Miles also spent a lot of his time taking those martial arts classes. The family of the Campbells shared this statement online. Family and friends from both sides of the family want to thank everyone for their prayers, thoughts, and tears through this traumatic time. Tyler, Susie, and Miles were loved beyond what can be expressed in words, and they will be missed tremendously. Garner police say the impaired driver in this case, Jordan Porter, will face additional charges. We will let you know once we learn what those charges will be. Laura Levine, WRAL News in Garner.
And back here in the Live Center, more breaking news out of Clayton. 2 people are in the hospital after a crash near US 70 and Lombard Street. 2 cars overturned. We know that. This is video from the scene. One victim was pinned, the other trapped. 2 people transported to the hospital for injuries sustained by this accident. The cause of this accident is still under investigation.
Nissan is urging owners to stop driving older vehicles because their Takata airbag could explode in a crash and hurl dangerous metal fragments. This warning comes after a person in a Nissan was killed by an exploding front passenger inflator. The warning covers certain Sentra small cars as well as Pathfinder SUVs and Infiniti QX4 SUVs from the early 2000s. To see if your Nissan vehicle is part of this, go to Nissan's website and type in your vehicle identification number. Nissan says owners should contact their dealer to set up an appointment to get those inflators replaced for free. This summer, the state will start issuing new driver's licenses and IDs designed to stop fraud. The card will feel stiffer, and officials say when dropped, it will make a metallic sound. It will also feature the state's flower, the dogwood. The current design will be phased out by the end of next month. They will remain valid until the expiration date.
Harvey Weinstein is due in court this afternoon in the same New York City courthouse where former President Donald Trump is on trial. It is unlikely the two men will bump into each other. Weinstein is awaiting a retrial on rape charges after his 2020 conviction was tossed out. He was convicted of rape in the third degree for an attack on an aspiring actor and of sexually assaulting a former TV and film production assistant. Last month, New York's highest court threw out those convictions after determining the trial judge unfairly allowed testimony based on allegations from other women who were not part of the case. Billionaire philanthropist Melinda French Gates announced plans to donate $1 billion over the next 2 years to help support women and families, including reproductive rights. French Gates says her decision was motivated in part by the racial gap in mortality rates for women. The plan includes $240 million in partnerships with 12 global leaders, including athlete and maternal health advocate Alison Felix and former New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern.
You're looking at a live view of Fayetteville Street in downtown Raleigh, where the Live After 5 concert series kicks off tonight. Bring your family and friends down to Fayetteville Street to enjoy local musicians paying tribute to top female performers. Sun Queen Kelsey and the Solar Flares with the 22 Strings Band will perform from 5 to 8 tonight. Concerts will be the last Wednesday of the month through August. WRAL is a presenting sponsor.
Next at noon, Texas just can't catch a break. One of several states getting pounded by severe weather for weeks now. A number of people in the Lone Star State without power.
Also, driverless trucks. How new technology could transform the trucking industry.
Plus, it's budget time in the Bull City. The money plan for a new Office of Survivor Care and what exactly that is. Elizabeth.
And on the patio, it's not bad out here, a little on the toasty side, but if you'd like to have a little break of spring, it's coming our way. Northwesterly wind's going to bring us some cooler air. I'll show you when.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.
Federal investigators are preparing to bring accusers of music mogul Sean Diddy Combs before a federal grand jury. Bringing people who have filed civil lawsuits against Combs before a grand jury would mark a significant escalation in the government's ongoing investigation into him. Combs has been named in 8 civil lawsuits since November. He's vehemently denied claims from many of the civil suits. The scope of the federal investigation is much larger than the allegations in the civil lawsuits. It focuses on sex trafficking, money laundering, and illegal drugs. A Missouri woman is charged with killing her 2 children. Police say the 36-year-old woman walked into the police department and confessed to shooting her 9-year-old daughter and drowning her son. The boy's body was found in a body of water. The girl's body was in the vehicle that the woman drove to the police station. Both were pronounced dead. Officers are investigating the motive.
Top golfer Scottie Scheffler's case is set to return to a Louisville court for a hearing. Scheffler faces charges including felony assault on a police officer, criminal mischief, and reckless driving. This stems from an incident in Louisville earlier this month. Scheffler was trying to enter the golf club for the second round of the PGA Championship. Police were working a traffic fatality near the entrance of the course when they say Scheffler tried to drive past the scene. Scheffler denies the allegations. An Ohio billionaire is starting a new expedition to the Titanic wreckage following the submersible implosion last year. The real estate investor plans to build a sub with the CEO of Triton Submarines that can make underwater trips to see the Titanic shipwreck starting in 2026. The investor reportedly came up with the idea mere days after a submersible from OceanGate imploded last year, killing 5 people.
It's been a devastating stretch of severe weather that's been pummeling the country in recent weeks, taking aim at Texas now. And right now, nearly 500,000 people in that state are without power. Sam Brock reports 18 million people are under a threat from severe storms across several states.
Yet another new round of dangerous spring weather, causing chaos across the South and Midwest. Overnight, Colorado slammed with a vicious hailstorm. On Tuesday, it was Texas taking the brunt of the damage. From trees threatening homes in Houston to a 120-year-old church going up in flames, the result of an apparent lightning strike.
It's painful.
To this home under construction in Magnolia, Texas, collapsing as workers escaped, except for a 16-year-old worker stuck inside.
The loss of life is heavy on all of us.
Wind gusts topping 75 miles an hour, forcing Houston's Bush Intercontinental Airport to order a ground stop. while powerful winds pushed this American Airlines aircraft away from its gate at DFW. American reporting no injuries, adding its maintenance team is currently conducting thorough inspections of the plane. These floodwaters snarling traffic on a Texas interstate as motorists try to get to work. Also in the mix, golf ball-sized hail and torrential rain slamming neighborhoods and businesses.
In California, it's earthquakes. In Florida, it's hurricanes. We're not safe anywhere. Shame.
Sam Brock reporting. Meantime, a thunderstorm turned out to be a striking background for this Kansas couple's wedding photos. Trapper and Michaela Shores celebrated their big day with some less than favorable weather rolling in. Instead of running from that storm, though, the couple and their photographer decided to take some photos in it. The end result was stunning memories caught on camera. The couple says the photos represent the day and their relationship with some bad weather, but ultimately beautiful.
Those are stunning images, and I love how they just embrace it and stayed safe, but they had the wedding.
Take it all in, right? It's good luck, they say, right?
True. But we love the sunshine, too, and we love quiet weather. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner out on the WRAL weather patio. Elizabeth, I feel like we should get some food delivered to you and, have a picnic out there.
And the picnic would be best right back here in the shade because it is pretty warm right here in the sun, but it feels delightful in the shade. And that is all because of our dew point. So the dew point is the measure of moisture in the atmosphere. And the higher that number is, the more uncomfortable it feels, the stickier it feels. And it really, it's feeling pretty good with the dew point. It's just that sun is, it's up there. And it's already 79 degrees. We're headed to 85. So it's definitely going to be a warm afternoon, but it won't be, it's not going to be as sticky as it could be. So 85 is our potential high temperature for later this afternoon. 83 in Durham, 87 in Fayetteville. And of course we have I want to say Alive After 5 because at one point I think it was called Alive After 5, but it's Live After 5, and we are sponsors of that. I'm just getting kicked off for the summer, and it will be on Wednesday nights once a month, and it's tonight. And it's going to be a little bit warm as it gets kicked off. Temperatures will be in the mid 80s still, and then dropping off into the mid 70s by around 8 o'clock, which will feel really comfortable. But if you can find a shady spot out there in downtown Raleigh, it really won't feel too bad. It is going to be much cooler overnight tonight. We're going to see our temperatures dropping into the 50s, so 54 in Siler City, 54 in Lewisburg, 54 up in South Hill. And we tend to see the coolest temperatures of the day between 6 and 7 a.m. And so that's what it's going to feel like if you're headed out the door early in the morning tomorrow. Looking at 55 degrees there in Sanford, 60 in Fayetteville, 58 in Goldsboro. It's really going to feel lovely. Now, over the weekend, it was warm and sticky and we had thunderstorms coming through. That's because we had a flow coming out of the southwest. So it was coming out across the Gulf of Mexico and the Atlantic Ocean. Now, this is a completely different air mass. This one's coming out of Canada with some nice dry air, and eventually it's going to send us some cooler air as well. So you can see the blue color contours that start to move in. That's going to be temperatures below normal. We'll really start to feel it tomorrow and all the way through Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. It does start to creep up just a little bit. So enjoy this lovely temperature change while we have it, because again, it's not going to be here for forever. It looks like temperatures will climb back to almost 90 degrees by the time we get to say Monday and Tuesday of next week. Again, looking at a pretty nice forecast for us. We'll see temperatures climbing by the time we get to next weekend. But in the meantime, the temperature for tomorrow will be 81, 79 on Friday, and the temperature on Saturday likely to be in the low 80s, and our overnight lows in the 50s will remain. It looks like a fairly dry period, though, too, all the way into the weekend. We'll talk about how things have looked so far this spring. Are we warmer than normal, cooler than normal, drier or wetter? We'll check that out in just a bit.
Elizabeth, thanks. The city of Raleigh wants to make it easier for you to get around downtown. Coming up at 4, we share how you can learn about the downtown mobility study today.
Plus, health officials are warning about a rise in COVID cases, why you might be paying more for your COVID care, and a program that can help you get medication for free with or without insurance. Plus, still ahead this noon, some Americans are adopting a more frugal lifestyle. How the No Buy Challenge is helping some keep money in their wallets. Is my wife watching?
Businesses are looking at new innovations that guarantee customers receive the products quickly. Coming up, a look at how driverless trucks hope to deliver change.
Engineers are racing to advance new technology that could transform the trucking industry as we know it. Sean Langill takes a closer look at how driverless trucks and wirelessly charging highways are making their mark.
With a nationwide trucking shortage continuing to impact the industry, companies are eyeing new innovations to ensure consumers get their products fast, especially when online shopping and overnight shipping reign supreme. So, what do you do when there aren't enough drivers?
So at Aurora, what we're building is a driver.
The American Trucking Association estimates the driver shortage to be roughly 64,000. Officials at Aurora hope their driverless semi-trucks will provide solutions.
The Aurora driver is this combination of the hardware, the stuff you can see hanging off the side of the truck here. So different sensors like a LiDAR and camera and radar that allow it to see the world. And then some really interesting software that allows it to take that data to figure out how to drive safely through the world.
In a few months, the company plans to have up to 20 driverless trucks carrying goods for FedEx, Uber Freight, and more between Dallas and Houston, Texas. They want to expand across the Sunbelt by 2026.
We want to be out there with thousands or tens of thousands of trucks on the road.
The trucking industry is also trying to make its vehicles greener while speeding up deliveries. Researchers at Purdue University are teaming up with the Indiana Department of Transportation to build a wireless charging roadway. The test section will be armed with electrical conductors. Those can charge EV trucks with special sensors as they drive over them without forcing them to stop.
Providing power from a roadway to a vehicle with the goal of reducing the battery size and eliminating range anxiety.
Sean Langill reporting. The Teamsters Union, which represents about 600,000 drivers, most of them truckers, is pushing state legislators to require human drivers to monitor the self-driving systems.
A consumer trend called the no-buy challenge is picking up steam across the country. The tactic calls for people to only buy the essentials to help keep more money in your account and build up savings. The social media trend can span anywhere from a no-buy week to a no-buy year. Experts say it's best to first identify your weaknesses, review your spending, and step back from social media ads. The hope is to improve your spending habits and increase savings. Tens of thousands of Samsung workers plan to walk off the job next week. If that happens, it will be the first such walkout at the South Korean tech firm. The union asked workers to hold a one-day strike and use their paid leave on June 7th in response to failed negotiations over pay between the union and company management. A Samsung spokesperson says the company remains committed to good faith negotiations with the union. The union represents more than 28,000 workers at Samsung.
Looks like Amazon will have to answer to a lawsuit filed by the Federal Trade Commission. The government agency accuses the company of enrolling millions of people into Amazon Prime without their consent. The suit argues Amazon made it hard for people to cancel. It also alleges the company knew a percentage of customers accidentally signed up for Prime. Some were charged several months before they canceled their membership.
People who fall victim to crime in Durham could soon have a new place to go for help. How a discussion happening right now could determine the future of the proposed Office for Survivor Care.
Plus, for years, new parents have avoided giving infants peanut butter at an early age. New research now reveals that just might help reduce the chance of developing allergies. And we have a look at your NC Education winning lottery numbers on your screen right now. We'll be right back.
Shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
Durham City Council is meeting at this hour to talk about the city's proposed budget.
It includes money to create a new Office of Survivor Care. WRAL's Monica Casey joins us live right now. Monica, what exactly is this new office all about?
This office would be housed in the Community Safety Department that's here in City Hall with the Unarmed Responder Team. It'd be part of that same branch. This office is another way to respond to crime in Durham that's focused on healing and listening. The planners behind the Office of Survivor Care are still working to determine exactly who it will serve and what the definition of survivor will be. The goal is clear, though, to support support people who have been victimized by violence, including those who have lost family members. Ryan Smith is the director of the Community Safety Department. He tells me he is hopeful this office can help people heal.
A big example is North Carolina has a fund to support people who have lost someone to gun violence, but navigating and accessing those funds can be difficult.
This office is proposed as a 3-year pilot program, with the first year being focused on planning. Right now, the proposed budget allocates just over $200,000 to get this office off the ground. It's proposed to have 2 to 3 staff members as it starts out. Now, 98 people have been shot in Durham so far this year, and 18 have died. That's a lot of people and family members who could use the support of an office like this. In Durham, Monica Casey, WRAL News.
A woman was seriously hurt during a shooting in Durham. Officers responded to Guest Road near Broad Street for a shots fired call. It happened just before 10:30 last night. Police say they later learned a 21-year-old woman walked into a hospital with a gunshot wound. Her injuries are said to be life-threatening. This is video from the WRAL Breaking News Tracker, and it shows the large number of evidence markers on the scene. This is the second shooting on Guest Road just within the last week. Police in Garner are trying to find a man they say shot a 23-year-old woman. The shooting happened on Avery Street around 9 last night. Police say the man shot the woman in the arm. They say he then jumped into a car someone else was driving, and they took off. Officers later found that car in Raleigh, but no one was in it. The woman is expected to be okay.
People who were flying on a JetBlue flight are safe now after their plane had to make an emergency landing late last night at RDU. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey explains we're still working to learn why it was diverted here.
As flights are taking off here at RDU today, we're learning more information about what happened here late last night. Airport officials say the runway where that plane made its emergency landing has now reopened. This is video of the plane after it landed just after 11 o'clock last night. We're working to find out why the flight was diverted here for that emergency landing. We checked FlightAware to find the plane's original destination. We believe this flight was headed to Fort Lauderdale from Boston, according to the site. That plane landed in Fort Lauderdale around 6:30 this morning. We're working to find out if passengers were on board. RDU says no one was injured during the emergency landing. We've reached out to JetBlue to see if they have any additional information about what happened. We're still waiting to hear back. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News at RDU.
And that was the second emergency landing at RDU within hours. Airport management says a small plane, you see it here, was diverted earlier in the evening when its nose gear wasn't working. That prompted other flights to be diverted and delayed. A couple, along with their twin daughters and 4 dogs, were on that small plane. The pilot is a retired Army colonel from the Fuquay-Varina area.
Israeli forces push deeper into the city of Rafah in Gaza. This comes just days after an airstrike sparked a fire that killed dozens of Palestinians. Raf Sanchez reports the White House says that its ally had not crossed the Biden administration's red line.
With Israel stepping up its military offensive in Rafah and Palestinian civilian casualties growing, the White House is under mounting pressure to explain what is President Biden's red line and has Israel crossed it. John Kirby, a spokesman for the National Security Council, saying the president does not want to see large numbers of Israeli forces going into the heart of Rafah and causing major damage. But he was asked, how many charred bodies does the president need to see before he changes policy? Now, that comes after that major firestorm at a camp for displaced people caused by an Israeli strike on Sunday night. At least 45 dead. The Israeli military releasing an initial investigation into that strike. They say that they used 2 small bombs to target Hamas commanders inside of that camp, but that a secondary explosion caused that massive fire to break out. Not clear at this point, they say, whether that was Hamas weapons hidden inside the camp or something like a gas tank igniting the flames. The Pentagon is also confirming an NBC News report that the U.S. has been forced to suspend aid deliveries into Gaza by sea after the American temporary military pier off the coast of the Strip suffered damage in bad weather. The Pentagon saying it'll take at least another week to repair. Raf Sanchez, NBC News, Tel Aviv.
And happening right now in the WRAL Live Center, one person is dead after a house explosion in Wisconsin that happened last night. And today we've learned the sheriff's office said in a news release the fire may have set off a large amount of ammunition inside that home, leading some nearby residents to call them and report gunfire. Sheriff's deputies and firefighters responded to that home at 11 o'clock last night. Again, one person was killed. The cause of the explosion remains under investigation.
You've heard of sustainable clothing. How about sustainable swimwear? Up next, we talk with a local entrepreneur, just 16 years old, about what inspired him to create swimsuits that are eco-friendly.
And Uber Eats wants to make it easier for people with special diets to order takeout. The new feature to clearly disclose any food allergies you may have. Our team is working to bring you exclusive stories. For coverage you'll find only on WRAL. Visit WRAL.com and search only.
Our Teacher of the Week comes from a family of educators. WRAL's Ken Smith went to Orange County to surprise Central Elementary School's Teacher of the Year.
Miss Scully, you are WRAL's Teacher of the Week. Congratulations.
Hannah Scully is upholding her family's legacy in education. That successful lineage is clearly evident among her third-grade students at Central Elementary in Orange County.
My grandparents, great uncles, aunts, uncles, my mom and dad are both teachers, so we've just always been teachers. And so it's always something I wanted to do.
Scully's inherent ability to teach was evident when she herself was just a student.
Helping even just like friends at school, figuring out a problem, it always was so satisfying to help them understand and like know something. And so when I started student teaching and during the summers in high school helping out with kids, I just always loved it. And there was nothing better than that light bulb moment when a kid figures it out. Oh, no, that's the problem.
Those aha moments fill her with joy every day, and it's no wonder she was named Central Elementary's Teacher of the Year this school year.
It means a lot. It's really awesome to be honored by your fellow staff members and colleagues. I was really excited to be even nominated. So this is the first year I'm even eligible, which is really exciting to be chosen. So it felt like a great honor, and my class was super excited, which was cute too.
Ken Smith, WRAL News.
Nothing better than those light bulb moments. If you'd like to nominate a teacher, go to WRAL.com and enter Teacher of the Week in the search box.
All right, this is not your normal beach brand. After the break, we'll introduce you to the local team behind a swimwear line that's not just about style, it's about sustainability. Peanuts are among the food types that can cause the most serious allergic reactions. Why it might be beneficial to start giving children a taste earlier in life. It is beach and pool season, and that means swimwear. But we're not talking about just any swimwear. We're talking sustainable swimwear, saving the ocean one swimsuit at a time, if you will. Local entrepreneur Holden Bierman joins us now. Holden, thanks so much. Appreciate you coming in. Founder and CEO of Coastal Cool. Your whole line is made of recycled plastic. Is that right? How did this business venture come about?
Yeah, thank you for having me. So I was 12 years old. It was my 6th grade year. I was at Holly Grove Middle School. COVID had just happened, and I chose to do virtual school as everybody was at home.
Yeah.
And I was starting to research business ideas. And I started researching booming stuff, and it was the e-commerce industry. Everybody was at home, and I was like, hey, let's try out some t-shirts and hoodies. I made a business plan for my parents. We laid it out. I laid out what I needed, my idea, my vision, and I started making t-shirts and hoodies with Coastal Cool as the brand name, and we rolled from there.
When I think of Fuquay Varina, I think Coastal Cool right away. Okay, so at some point, the business part changed, the mission changed, right?
Yeah. As I became more developed as an entrepreneur and a business owner, especially in a local community, I wanted to tap into connecting my vision to a mission. That's one thing I've always said. And we were able to connect my brand, Coastal Cool, to Tidy Organization to remove a pound of plastic with every purchase.
So 1 pound of plastic comes out of the ocean, and you had a recent mission in Guatemala.
Yeah, we were able to remove 500 pounds of ocean plastic from the coastline in Guatemala. Yep.
Wow. Okay, so we're seeing pictures here from a ribbon cutting in Fuquay Varina. Youngest business owner ever to join the Fuquay Chamber?
Yes, sir. Yep.
That is incredible.
Yeah, we had a great time. Over 150 people there.
That is one large celebration there for the ribbon cutting as you get going. So your friends in school, I mean, you're 16 going on 17 here. Friends can be the harshest critics. What are the kids saying about it?
Especially speaking back in my middle school, they look up to me because I'm doing something, especially in the same age group. And I think a lot of kids want to start businesses and they're scared to. And I think I'm kind of that support system. I definitely wish I had it when I was starting, especially 6th grade, 12 years old. It's one of the scariest things to do.
I bet.
But if I can be that support for somebody nowadays, and being in that same age group, especially taking somebody's idea to the next level, I'm there.
All right, let me see this thing. All right, so it's made of plastic.
Made of plastic, so it's a 90% recycled polyester and spandex mix, and it's made from recycled plastic bottles, yes sir.
Cost?
It's around $55 on our website, and you can get the matching suits, bikinis, one pieces for women's, bucket hats, and you can match your whole family.
And some of that money goes back to the group that helps get the plastic out of the ocean, is that right?
So we donate 1% of all sales with each order to Tidy.
Okay. What's next? I mean, what are the other initiatives? Do you have partners? Do you have plans for the future? What's going on?
Continue. We have over 100,000 followers on Instagram. We've got a really large network, especially for being in Fuquay Arena. The goal is to continue getting into some wholesale accounts, growing our brand, and continue the Coastal Cool name.
Well, I think folks coast and beyond will appreciate the fact that you're cleaning up the environment at the same time, making a pretty cool product. Holden Bierman, CEO, entrepreneur here. Renee, 16 years old. Did we mention that part? Thanks, Holden.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it. These are awesome.
I'm still trying to wrap my brain around. He's a high school sophomore and started his business when he was 12 years old. I love hearing him talk about how he's evolving as an entrepreneur. Great advice there. And from Coastal Cool, we go to Triangle Cool, and our highs are going to start cooling down later this week. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center. Right now, it feels pretty nice.
Well, unless you're standing right here in the sun. It's great in the shade, I'll tell you what, but the sun is pretty toasty out here. I just need to, I need the shorts and the short sleeves on, and that would make it all better. But it is, it's a lovely afternoon. I mean, right over there in the shade, it is delightful. And that's because our dew point is nice and low. But if you're in the sun, it does feel, it feels pretty warm out here right now. But again, I'll look at our gardens. We, of course, are hot right now. And if it feels like it's been a hot spring, well, it has. We are on track to have the record warmest spring at RDU. And so here's what we're looking at. So you may say, well, okay, we still have a little bit longer, a few more weeks for spring. But meteorologically, we consider spring the entire month of March, April, and May. And meteorological summer actually starts Saturday on June 1st. So those are the numbers that we're looking at. And the average temp, even though that 64.4 may look like a strange temperature, it seems cool, that's an average of the highs and lows together for the entire 3 months. And so we are looking at an average of about 4.5 degrees warmer than normal, which is the warmest on record for spring. For rainfall, it was really dry in April. It's been wetter in May. And so we're actually looking at about an inch behind for spring, which is not bad compared to what we were looking at way back in April. All right, let's check out that muggy meter. I mean, it's comfy, 57, but that sunshine, because it's warm out, definitely feels hotter. But it's, as long as you can stay in the shade, really delightful. We're looking at comfy dew points all the way up until we get to Sunday. Then we start to creep back into a little bit sticky, and then we're more humid into early next week. We're going to change our weather pattern up just a little bit. Checking satellite and radar, we're going to likely have a little disturbance that's up to the north, swinging maybe a shower or two in our northeastern counties. We'll take a look at Futurecast. It's not going to be much of a big deal, but we'll see mostly sunny to partly cloudy skies through the rest of this afternoon. And then you can see that tiny little shower that may pop up there in our northeastern counties quickly between, say, 7 and 9. Other than that, we are looking dry, dry, dry. 79 for Friday, 82 Saturday, and 85 on Sunday. So lovely weather in our forecast. We're nice and dry. You might have to start watering your garden or your lawn by the end of the work week because it is going to stay dry. But generally, we're still looking pretty good. We're at 100 to 150% of our normal rainfall for the last month, so that's looking good. Our precipitation outlook all the way through the middle of June is slightly above normal. And once we get into next week, our temperatures are also slightly above normal. So enjoy these few days while we have it. Tomorrow's high 81, 79 on Friday, 82 on Saturday, and those really pleasant temperatures. The next 3 mornings, it's going to be in the 50s. I can't wait for that, you guys.
We can't wait either. Customers can now order food with confidence through Uber Eats. How new features will help people avoid potentially dangerous allergens.
And the winning Mega Millions numbers, 12, 18, 48, 57, 62. The Mega Ball is 4, the Mega Plier is 5. We wrap things up with a look at a few of the headlines we're following for you today.
Breaking news, less than 60 minutes ago, jury deliberations began in the historic hush money trial against former President Donald Trump. The judge read jurors the instructions and told them to work until 4:30 this afternoon. Trump and his legal team must remain inside the courthouse while the jury is there attempting to reach a verdict.
Several Raleigh bars are linked to a drug investigation that led to 6 arrests. Today, the Alcohol Law Enforcement Agency said agents made arrests at 3 downtown locations. At the Big Easy, 3 people are facing charges in connection to this drug bust. That includes 2 employees who are accused of planning to sell drugs and allowing criminal activity at a licensed ABC premise. ALE agents also charged a customer at the Davy Bar and 2 customers at the Cardinal.
Today, we're getting an inside look at new tools Duke Energy is using to keep your power on and get it back online if a storm hits the area. The power company has new tech that cuts off the problem area to reroute power, limiting the impact of an outage. It could mean the difference between a power outage affecting 2,000 people or a couple hundred.
Uber Eats wants to make it easier for customers with food allergies to order safely. The company announced new features that allow restaurants to disclose if they can accommodate food allergies. Customers will be able to write their food allergy-related needs in a new special instructions field. There'll be a list of common allergens for customers to choose from and save to their profile. Good news for parents worried about peanut allergies and their kids. A new study finds introducing peanuts to your babies could keep them from developing an allergy. The study was done by the National Institute of Health. They say feeding kids peanut products regularly from when they're an infant to age 5 reduces the rate of peanut allergies in adolescence by more than 70%. Children also didn't have to keep eating peanut products for past the age 5 for the treatment to work.
A special program in the Southeast Raleigh YMCA is called SAGE. It means Saving Adolescent Girls Everywhere. This program helps teen girls discover a positive future by setting goals and building wholesome friendships. This nonprofit program promotes professional development, social awareness, and academic success. The founder, Tatiana Cooper, learned from negative influences that she experienced when she lived in Chicago.
So I wanted to give something back to the community that I felt, I looked at myself like, what would I want as a younger girl? And so that just motivated me to help the girls that I saw myself in.
The 4-year program is for high school girls ages 13 to 18 who live in the Raleigh area.
Our pet of the day comes to us from Cat Angels NC, and despite being abandoned by her previous family, Tabitha is a super sweet girl who loves people. At 12 years young, she's a relaxed and leisurely lady who enjoys a lap and her wet food, and she would prefer to be your one and only so she can have you all to herself. Like all cats at Cat Angels, she is spayed, microchipped, and fully vaccinated. If you'd like to meet her in person, just fill out an application on the Cat Angels website.
She's a cutie. An effort to revive Goldsboro's historic station is underway. Coming up on our news at 4, we'll take you inside the station and show you what makes it so special to so many in this community.
Should we really head for the shade? I don't know. The sunshine sounds pretty good right now.
It looks beautiful out there.
NBC News Daily is up next on WRAL. Your next local news update in 30 minutes.
Have a great day, everybody.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.